Look, you can lose 5 pounds overnight. You can gain 5 pounds overnight. And that usually is the bigger concern. But look. It's not fat, it's water weight. And that is potentially largely due to your hormones, hormone fluctuations that potentially happen because you're female, because you're in midlife and you have more hormone fluctuations going on. It could be because of certain foods that you've eaten, and it could be simply the hormones themselves or a combination of the two. So many things will affect that, but you have to remember it wasn't fat gain and it's not fat loss. So we neither should let our heart plummet to our shoes or be ecstatic when you've lost that weight, when you see fluctuations. Those of you that weigh every day, I know this is going to be a bigger deal for you. I'm not a fan. I know you like to. I know potentially you're thinking, well, that tells me where I'm at. But it tells you a lot of things. It just tells you your hormones are fluctuating and you're female. So doing that weekly weigh-in on Monday, or if you must, maybe you do a weekly weigh-in Monday morning, Friday morning, same time, same status. That will give you better benchmarks, and you can't panic. You cannot panic. Trust me. I'm Deborah Atkins. You're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top struggles and concerns, but most of all, hope to inspire you and give you hope and give you the empowering expectations about how you age so that you can have the energy and the vitality that you want, need, and deserve. I share what to eat, how to move, and how to change your mindset to get all the things that we so deserve for ourselves, but we also are the most powerful health influencers in the world. You have a younger generation. They may not be your kids, but they may be someone else's close to you. And you have your own peers, your partners, your friends. Where do we get our advice after all? And you have your parents, your in-laws. Maybe for you, it's an aging aunt or uncle. Maybe you're fortunate enough to have your grandparents still here. Birth order is everything. They're looking at you because as a woman in midlife, they're looking at the habits that you've had and where it's affected you. They're looking at the habits and how you take care of yourself now. They're hearing the language and the way you talk to yourself and about yourself. And that is a legacy you're leaving. No matter what it is, you are leaving it. So there's still time if you want to change that legacy. All right, let's dive into this episode. It is a Q&A from one of our listeners. So this happens to be a listener question from one of our group program participants, and it's all about losing fat after 50. Whether you're in a Flipping 50 program or not, this can happen to you too. The question goes, I lost 10 pounds and 4 inches in the first 12-week program. She's referring to one of our Stronger programs. Stronger Tone and Define is available outside of our membership for you to do. It's also just one of actually 7 on the way to 8 unique 12-week programs that are available to use inside of our cafe membership, along with so many other things. But reading her question again, start to end, I lost 10 pounds, 4 inches in the first 12-week program, but now I'm stalled. What can I do? Okay, tough question for me to answer without knowing all the variables. So what I'm going to have to go off of here, because it's kind of a one-way ask and a one-way delivery. But I want to put this here because in working with clients, both men and women, for 38 years now, I have a collective input on what has typically been the problem. And hey, it's often been eating too little, not eating too much. But if you lose weight without monitoring body composition, which would be the first thing that I would want you to do, is have a smart scale where it's not just weight, but you're not measuring BMI, not that. Body composition means body fat versus lean muscle tissue. You want that percentage. What's happening there? Is that going up, down, or staying the same? We do not want body fat to go up. And if you can, invest in a scale that will tell you what is the pounds of lean muscle mass that you have. We should know the pounds of lean muscle mass. because we want that to go up or definitely to stay the same, never to go down. It's harder to get back as we age. If you lose weight without monitoring your body composition, you can easily have this false sense of success. Oh, yay, lost 10 pounds. But yeah, whoa, bad. What if 3 or 4 of those pounds were muscle? Now we have a problem because we've lost metabolically active tissue. We need to maintain our muscle or gain it. Couple ways that you can maintain your muscle while you lose weight is increase your normal intake of protein. Studies published in menopause journals, in the obesity journal, have proven, and this has probably been true now for decades, that as you decrease caloric intake on a lower caloric intake diet than normal, an increased amount of protein will support maintaining lean muscle while you lose weight, because it's possible to lose a large percentage, like up to half of the weight you lose being muscle. That's going to slow your metabolism. And nobody is going to have fun with that picture. That means weight regain is probably imminent, because every signal in your body will tell you, you need to eat more. We're going to slow down the metabolism until you do. We're going to give you low energy and continue to make you want more food until you put more food in. And then because you have a slower metabolism, that food is going to cause weight gain. Regain that usually is greater than the weight you lost. But when we regain weight, yeah, it's 100% fat. So that cycle over and over in your life, if you've done it, successfully lost weight, regained weight, more than I lost in the first place. You lost muscle and fat. You gained only fat, right? Repeating that doesn't work too well. All right. So you may be surprised to know that you could be a smaller size at a higher weight and enjoy eating and energy better than trying to starve or exercise your weight to something that you cannot sustain and that causes a loss of muscle. Listen, life is not really pleasurable or enjoyable if you're constantly thinking, oh, I can't do that. I have to deprive myself. It's just not a good fit. So seriously, losing muscle after 50 is a huge loss. And really, you're going to struggle to get that back. It's not impossible, but you got to work really hard. So let's try to just keep what you've got. It's like the stock market crashing when you lose muscle after 50. But the good news is, unlike the stock market, you're in control. So these are the things that will cause muscle loss. No weight training. Now, I know she was in a 12-week program, so that wasn't true. Or not lifting weights to muscle fatigue. So in response to the woman who asked this question, I would ask you this. Every single set, in every single workout, were you lifting a weight heavy enough that if I said we're doing 15 repetitions, 13, 14, and 15 may or may not have happened. You were getting so much to muscle fatigue that it was like, I can't go through full range of motion. I'm not having good form. I have to stop, or I just can't get the weight up anymore. It's done. You've got to get to that point, or you have not overloaded the muscle enough for it to change between workouts as you recover. So you can't just check the box. Yep, lifting weights. We've got to look at, tell me more about that. How are you lifting weights? What are you doing? Reaching muscle fatigue is really required. All right. Also, something that causes muscle loss, eating inadequate protein. So your protein need increases. So protein need increases when you're looking to lose weight. Your requirement goes up. Think about your body weight in pounds. If that's not, you're not at your ideal weight right now, what is your ideal weight? And let's just be, I know this is a tough question. The next question people say, how do I figure that? It's not the height and weight chart in your doctor's office or online. It's, think back. What weight were you at when you had tons of energy? You were barely trying. You slept really great. You had great sex. You cared to have it. It wasn't forced. You just had a good libido. You thought clearly and your clothes fit easily, but you were not obsessed. What weight was that? Some of us have a hard time with all of those things, right? So you want to think, what was that? That was probably, if you were doing it naturally, you were at your ideal optimal body weight. Some of you may have lived lives where you really haven't been there yet. But I want you to use that as somewhat of a benchmark. Where would that be? And if your weight right now is, you're 200 or you're 250, I mean, you don't want to go to 150. That's my ideal weight. Maybe let's close the gap and think, okay, ideal weight of 180. I need to be eating that much protein. And if you need to lose weight in order to get to that ideal body weight because you're not there, then you eat more than 180 grams of protein per day. That is your first goal. Hard to do. So it might require a protein supplement. Amino acids on my flipping50.com/resources page. I share literally pill form of supplements, and they're big and you have to take quite a few of them, but that would be one substitute, a way to take in the equivalent of the protein that you're going to get at a meal. And if you're not having animal protein, it's definitely a way to get high quality amino acids in. Muscle can't be built without it. The amino acid has to be of high quality profile in the protein that you're eating. Otherwise, you've got to eat tons and tons of food, which is not a good strategy if you're now getting high carbs from all plant protein sources. So I won't go too far into that. Other podcasts on that topic if you need to. But let me go back to the top. These things will cause muscle loss. No weight training at all. I know that wasn't the case here. Not lifting weights to muscular fatigue. Take a look at that. And eating inadequate protein. Your protein need increases if you're reducing your calories in an attempt to lose weight. And failure to plan your meals and your exercise nutrition. Meaning if you're doing a workout, strength training specifically, bookending that workout, making sure you have a high protein meal before it, you have a high protein meal after it. If you're struggling and say you are somebody who's doing intermittent fasting because you think that's a great way to lose weight, it is a great way to get lots of longevity benefits. But if you're struggling to gain lean muscle mass, I might suggest not doing that strength training fasted. Preload with protein, a simple shake, meaning the protein and maybe unsweetened almond milk blended up, goes into you before it actually supports muscle recovery before you've even started that workout. Funny concept, but true. Meaning exercise is a breakdown activity. We're breaking down and tearing down muscle during the workout. The repair that happens, it repairs not to just where it was, but it repairs beyond. It says, this stress was thrown at me. It might happen again. So I'm not going to get just this strong. I'm going to get a little stronger than that. So we are ready next time. And that's what should happen if you get adequate rest between exercise, you get good sleep, and you get your adequate nutrition. That will happen. And you have to look at those pieces as well. But planning meals often doesn't happen for women who are struggling with their goals. They're skipping meals. They're saying, I just had a bowl of butternut squash soup for lunch and that's all I wanted. There's no protein in that, girlfriend. You've got to really look at that. Was a high carb meal, and carbohydrates will help muscle, but not in the absence of protein. We've got to get that in there. So about 30 grams or more is your threshold. 30 grams of protein at each meal. And then you're putting those puzzle pieces into what is your ideal weight, right? And making sure you're getting that or ideal weight plus at least 10 to 15% protein on top of that. It has to be that you are fueling the muscle and the exercise that you're doing. And if you are inactive and you're thinking, well, I don't need all that protein because I'm not active. Not true. Inactive people have less of the ability to have muscle protein synthesis than active people do. So the more active we are, probably the better we're synthesizing protein we eat to the use of our muscles. The less active, not so. So it's almost inverse, that relationship. An inactive 85-year-old rapid muscle loss happening if they're not exercising, and it's much more likely to be so. They need more protein than probably you and I if we're in our mid 50s and very active. It's not the way we're seeing things go, but we will start moving that way. All right. So long endurance training is the other thing that will cause a loss of muscle. So if you are still hooked, yes, you want to move, but walking, hiking, and golfing, yes, but not necessarily those long runs that tend to increase cravings for foods that will spike blood sugar. They give you that. Well, I ran today, so I can eat this today. It really doesn't work that way, especially with your hormones in midlife. Too much long endurance training will cause a spike in cortisol. That cortisol is one of those hormones that will break down muscle. It's called a catabolic kind of a hormone. We need the anabolic kind that build muscle up and help it repair, and that's growth hormone and testosterone. So there are a lot of things that could go wrong, but namely, it is either in the influence of the exercise on your muscle, or it is the absence of recovery habits that help to increase and or avoid losses in your muscle. So the reason you lost 10 pounds and 4 inches in the first week, 12-week program, maybe you were eating for that body that was really deconditioned prior to starting. I don't know what your history was. But if you are now trying to cut back on calories and you're a more athletic body, you've got a little bit more muscle, you're in better shape, you have to feed that. Athletes eat more than non-active people. That should still be true for you. We can't gamify this and trick the system to get long-term health and optimal body composition. If you're looking closer at not weight, but body composition, and you're looking at how do I become stronger? What would that take? You will have less body fat. You will have more lean muscle. And that takes up less space. That's where those inches lost come into play. So losing weight is okay, but we don't know it's always the measure of success. The loss of 4 inches tells me there was a loss of weight that included fat, and there's more muscle there. But you want to really keep your eye on that and then keep looking at, am I eating like the more active athletic person that I am now versus the dieter that I might used to have been? All right. The 12-week program I talked about, it's currently closed. It will open again in March. Periodically throughout the year, we will open up one 12-week program that lives inside of our membership to the public to try. Currently, though, if you have 20 or more pounds to lose, the Fit You program is a good fit, pun intended, for you. The program is designed for losing weight after 50, specifically women in menopause. I rounded up all the science on the exercise, the nutrition, and the mindset that I know you'll struggle with if you learn things about exercise and nutrition, exercise and nutrition 30 years ago or so. They've changed, but you still have those ideas in your head. I've tucked all of that into one program. And this month too, if you're listening live in February 2022, I am sharing, or maybe recently I've shared, a master class. We do those monthly, open to the public at Flipping 50. And if you're receiving our emails, you're already aware of them. You're the first in line to get the invite, which sometimes those seats will fill, especially if we're talking about something like this, weight loss. So you can join that list, and I'll leave the link to the show notes. Nobody wants another email newsletter. I know that. We often share what's new in our podcast in case you've missed it, what I've recently done or posted in terms of content or videos on YouTube. In that, we share recipes and we share sometimes not released yet blog content about new research inside of those emails. So if you're looking for specifically filtered for women in menopause content, that would be where to get it. Those replays for registrations for the Flipping 50 masterclasses, the replays are sent only to those who register. So keep your eye out for your email, and our social media channels will advertise them there too, where you can register. But often people say, "Oh, I was busy or I couldn't come. Can I have the replay?" And the answer is, unless you were registered, no. But yes, they are sent out if technology cooperates. It doesn't always. We can be on, we can think, we click to record, and we all know what technology does to us. It drives us crazy. And it's a test. I know it's a test. Okay. So there you have it. So answers to a listener question that you too may have. And if you're not a part of our Flipping 50 insiders group, like literally who want some access to me but aren't yet in a program. So if you are in a program, ask questions in your private program, because you've got you're the people we go to first in our private programs. We take care of first and respond to first. But if you want some access, you've got some questions, you want to be around a community of women just like you, the Flipping 50 Insiders group on Facebook is the place to go. And you'll get an idea of what are people asking, what other questions that might always help you. I'm often the biggest learner in the room when other people are asking questions and I don't even know yet what to ask. It's like, oh, I didn't know I should have asked that question, but I love that I'm getting the answer. That can accelerate your learning too. So I will put the link to join the Facebook group. It's you'll ask for or request access. Tell us a little bit about, are you in perimenopause, postmenopause, or what's going on for you? What's your biggest challenge? And then you will be allowed in and allowed to ask questions. So connect with us there in multitude of ways. That is going to come up with losing fat after 50, this Q&A, and the show notes for that will be, of course, at flipping50.com/losing fat after 50. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 today.